Well, we will get started. This is going to be a session probably like no other. Not because I'm here, but because you're here. We're going to do some interactive stuff today and just kind of talk about AI. And we're just going to talk about the focus is rapid prototyping. So I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but it's okay to talk about AI, ask questions. Learn together. I know some of y'all have used AI. You'll know things I don't know, and I'll maybe be able to educate you on some things too about some of these tools. But the main goal is just to show everybody some tools, things that you can use every day, and it's not just for developers. I think that's a message that's important. It can be for project managers, business analysts, really anybody, stakeholders, product owners, all the different names. So my name is Mark Shropshire. I go by Shrop, and welcome everybody. And I'm excited to talk about this stuff today. So because it's all interactive, I need to sit down because I'm at a computer. It's a little different, but we'll kind of have fun with this, how it goes. And I enjoyed getting asked like, were my slides ready? And I'm like, I don't have any slides. No slides.
We'll do it live.
We will see how this goes. But I think I've got a good internet connection, and so we'll see how everything moves along here. But
you have to hit the button to record, or is it recording?
It's recording. They'll be good to, I'm sure, trim it down. But yeah, it's recording. Thank you for that, though. It's so easy to forget to hit the red button. So let's kind of jump in and get started. So again, it's kind of live, hands-on, and this is, so I am talking about v0 a good bit today. It's a Vercel product. This is just an example of a product you can use to AI with. It's not to sell you on v0, but the free plan will get you quite a bit of room and usage if you're just using it like once every week or so, like on a call. Like if you're not using it all the time, I think it's $20 a month to do the pay thing. I did pay for it this 1 month just because I didn't want to be in front of everybody and run out of tokens, credits, whatever they call these things. But I would say v0 is not the only tool. All these tools are competing to do the same kind of work, and so it's we have different tools that we can use for this. But v0 really amazed me. I saw this first presented at All Things Open last October, November, whenever that event was, and the presenter did a great job. And there was more to it than v0, but I came back to work, and I was basically using v0, like started using it live on some calls with stakeholders, like, which is a little risky, but you kind of tell everybody, look, we're just going to try this, see how it works, and it's a lot of fun. So,
have you noticed improvements in it since you first saw it at All Things?
Yes.
I noticed the same thing with Bolt. I started playing with it.
Oh, Bolt's cool, yeah.
To create web components,
yeah,
native web components, and just iterate in just a few months and watch the improvements in what it generates. And it does a pretty decent job.
It does really good, and that's something we'll talk about. It's great, Lisa, that you've had that experience, because it'll help to make sure I don't forget something too. If folks haven't used as much of this tooling, some of the tips on how to use it better, we'll talk about some of that, because I think one of the things that happens with AI is, and I've heard developers even say this, they'll try it. They'll try one prompt and they're like, this is terrible. It doesn't do what I want. I tried one time, and I'm like, would you talk to a human being like that on your team? Would you go fix this error? And they'd be like, give me context. What's more information? I need more information to resolve it. How do I solve it? So there's definitely, but there's an art to the prompting stuff. But I would say in the last 2 years, I've already seen it where the large language models, they don't need complex prompts, because a lot of the things we do every day, we're doing things that have done over and over, that's been done over and over. I'm not trying to bring everybody down, but we build on top of things that we built before. It's not, which is good for UX and things like that. So let's make sure I've covered everything here. Yeah, so we'll kind of jump right into V0. So you might ask, all right, what is V0? I'll show it to you now on the screen here. Make sure I can get my cursor over there. So V0 is a product by Vercel. And if you need me to zoom anytime, let me know. I'll try to manage that the best I can. But yeah, V0 is a Vercel product. Vercel, they're the makers of the folks behind Next.js, the framework, and they have a hosting platform where you can host, not the only place, but you can host Next.js apps, other types of JavaScript apps. But V0 is their AI product, and it's based around shadcn. Let's see, yeah, shadcn, Tailwind is involved. I think that's a theme that's come up a lot. Tailwind is. We're not getting into that.
Don't say it.
We're not getting into that. We don't have time for that right now. But I would love to engage later on that. And it's Next.js. I think it will do, although I haven't done this, it will do some Python code when it comes to like AI related things. If you're asking it to do AI things, it will do some Python too. Someone once told me that they did PHP with it. I don't think it does that. I think they were talking about something else. Although I was like, later I was like, please earmark that because that would be great. So when I looked at this, I'm like, I'm not always doing Next.js things, but that's part of the prototyping and how to do this stuff quick. When I'm prototyping something or someone on our team's prototyping things, you're just showing things. You don't really care what language is written. It can be written in anything, right? It's nice if it's written in the language you use, but this is kind of the basic interface. And when we generate things, so we're in preview tab here. So once I've generated this user profile, and so this is my prompt: generate a profile page with avatar name, email. I mean, that's a terrible prompt, people. Like if you go to the prompt schools or watch the prompting YouTube videos and all that, they would go, that's terrible, but look how well it did. I mean, it made a profile kind of component.
And it told you what it was using.
It tells you exactly what it's using. You can ask it to do other stuff. It will pull in, it can pull in other libraries and things. It will go out and find them. So you're not stuck with just what it defaults to, but it has to have some safe defaults. It will do multi-page and multi-file. I should say, they just added that, and that's another example of something they added, Lisa. In recent months, they added multi-file. So when you do the components, you'll actually have the components split up into, JavaScript and a component file and things like that. So it's really cool. So it created this, and so my point there is you can. This is why I think you can prototype live on call with stakeholders, because you don't have to spend a lot of time doing fancy, building out fancy stuff. So not a bad thing. And then let's see. So that's one example. Oh yeah, code, right? Code. You want to see code? So the code's there. You actually see it write code. We're gonna do it in a minute. You see it write the code as you move along, which is kind of wild. Then you've got basically like a debug JavaScript console that it will output things there if it needs to. It's smart enough, like a lot of these systems, where just because, don't get frustrated if you see it throw an error or something like that. You can just say, fix the error. And actually, V0 will even say, I see an error. Would you like me to fix it? And it will generally fix, simple stuff. It fixes up pretty well. And all this in the name of like just efficiency for us. Because like Jason, we were talking, I think, I don't know if it's today or yesterday, but we were talking about how hey, or maybe it's just a while ago, like, hey, I mean, with this stuff, like, I'm dependent on AI, because I'm used to it. It is a tool. We get dependent on tools that work for us, right? So I think that's what makes it awesome. And so let's do something. So let's. I've got a prompt here that I'm going to try. We're going to start with a login form. So I am going to go to my library. So you see in the library here, it'll store the past, items that you've created. And I'm going to say new chat. No, that's not the new chat
New
world.
chat button right there.
Oh, yeah.
Top left.
Thank you. Yeah, it's in different spots at different times. Feel free to help the shop along. Sometimes I need it. So I'm just going to paste this prompt in here. So we're going to create a login form with email, password fields, remember me checkbox, login button, style with Tailwind. Again, we can all agree this has been done a million times, but I need something quick. We're on a call and someone says I want a login form. And I want something different about it. So let's start with what we consider a traditional UX for a login form. So I'm going to hit this to start it. I'm going to zoom a little bit in here. So it's thinking. It's really not thinking. It's predicting the next thing and what's expected. But I love the charm of AI that it is thinking. We always love this. And it's telling us exactly what it's doing. It's going to start writing code.
Have you asked it to write documentation for you? Because I've done that with Bolt, and it does a pretty decent job.
I haven't done that as much in v0. I don't remember if I've done it with v0. Well, there it is. So we have to say that was fast. That's pretty cool. I haven't done, but I have done documentation for Jira tickets. I've done documentation for pull requests. You know, I've done documentation. So if you give enough context, AI does a great job with these types of things. At least as a starter, it gets you off the blank page.
That's a really wonderful thing, is to at least give you a way to start something instead of just like, what? Like, I don't know what to do. And so you ask and you get something to respond to. It might be crap.
Yeah.
But like you say,
but it's
you get started.
You get started. Something's on the page, and I think that's an important aspect. Is that
I think so.
When you're staring at and I'll just say I'm not a writer. I'm a talker. Like I enjoy doing stuff like this, but I'm not the person that sits and turns out blog posts, right? And so if someone says, "Please write a blog post," I'll be like, please don't ask me to do that, but okay, I'll do it if I need to. And so it's a great way to get stuff started for a blog post, because you can start throwing ideas out there, but I feel like I still want it to be in my voice and sound like me and things like that. So I like to then get it started and then kind of tweak from there. But this is a great idea. So So this is what we can do next. Let's ask it to add some documentation. And
ask it to do it in a README file, in a markdown file.
README.md file, so others can understand what and how this was built. And this is probably very verbose. You don't really have to do that. I punctuated, being kind to the AI. We could say please. Please and thank you. You don't really have to, but I think it's funny.
They'll spare you after the shipping.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And so many people agree with this, even though we know logically that has nothing to do with this. But so there's a README, and you can evaluate: is this pointless? Is this good? Is this helpful? But I think tech use is kind of cool. Component structure. It's like Randy's saying, that this is a start of something. You can get that in there, get it started, and then you'll want to edit and change stuff.
Yeah, with Bolt, I would ask it to write me user documentation and developer documentation, and it generated pretty close to what you got right there.
Yeah, and even like acceptance criteria for tickets, testing instructions. How would I manually test this?
Yeah,
is really useful. So that's a point I don't want to miss today. I think I've got it in the list here somewhere, but we're not going by order exactly. While we're talking that, I really like the idea of just be creative with this stuff. Every task you're about to do, think about how could I leverage AI to help make it more efficient, or maybe it's a point of experimentation. I could try something, because you will, at times it doesn't work out, and you can then look at like maybe why. So the next thing we want to do is refine this a little bit. So how do we want to refine this? And I need to go back here. No. I think I'm so scrunched down here.
Where is
you
things
could ask it to validate the password and give the criteria rules you want for password string.
Oh yeah, add validation to the password field and ensure it has strong password requirements or something like that.
Can't
With
see what it
feedback.
comes up with.
Yeah.
What's that?
With feedback.
With feedback to the user using common password field validation techniques. I think it's called techniques. I don't know why I got to say it out loud while I type. Just bear with me. It's part of the process.
Where is this stuff being saved? Is it in the cloud? Is it local? Where is this stuff?
Yeah, it's all in the cloud, and you can actually. What's cool is if once you go to be a pro user, you can actually save. You can actually save this. You can say this is a project, and then come back and continue to work on it and refine it, that sort of thing.
Now it's generating it with React, which is what I found that Bolt would do when you would start with the AI. And I would go back and ask it, no, remove React, write it as a native component, and it would refactor it.
Yeah, this is interesting. So this is the part that was added that we just talked about, but now you can see it. So it immediately has an error. So maximum update depth exceeded. It's got one component repeatedly calls that state inside, and it's got some more context. But let's see if v0 can fix it. It says it can. It thinks it can. We don't know. So we'll let it. It's thinking again. Let's see what happens. Pretty exciting. Is everybody excited? Are you riveted? I'm riveted right now. Is that the right thing? Riveted? Are you riveted? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Let's doing some more stuff here. Okay.
Well, it fixed the error because it rendered.
I'm not getting an error if I type password. Oh, look at that. So it has to be 8 characters long, 1 uppercase, 1 number, 1 special character.
It shouldn't be on the login page. It should be on the registration page. Okay, sign up page.
That's true. That's a good point. And this is an example. That's a great call. This is an example of you can't just take whatever AI is going to generate and just go, oh, that's fine. I'm gonna not think about it with my brain that this is what's going on. You have to think, is this right? And so now you could say, let's build a sign up page and move that validation to the sign up page and do that. But this is I definitely want to keep with time. So you can see this can get kind of addictive. You can keep iterating on stuff and moving fast. But I want to jump to let's do a little something else. Okay, I've got an idea here.
So how much of this can I build a front end with this and have Drupal as the back end, or how do I use it with Drupal?
I don't. So for prototyping, that's what I'm about to show you how you can use it with Drupal. But using it with Drupal is more like from a prototyping standpoint. I don't care that it's not really running Drupal, but can it emulate a Drupal interface?
Mm-hmm.
Can it show me a Drupal interface? And that's what we'll do now, because I don't believe it has the capability to spin up containers and give me databases and do all those things. Is that possible with AI? Sure, I'm sure ways you can do that, but not with v0. But how can we use this on the call, right? Prototyping. How can we use this? Let's say that. So I've got Drupal 11 head installed. Yesterday I installed this. I've got some devel generate content. I've devel generated some users. These are all active users. They're so excited to be on this site that has no real content. But let's say that we're on a call and your key stakeholder says, we really need some other, we'd like some other information on this user page, right? So let's do this. Let's take a screenshot. Let's take a screenshot of this Drupal interface, just so we have it. This is where it kind of can get kind of exciting. And I'm going to save it. Okay, I went to my other desktop, no problem. So we've got that, and we're going to do another chat. And I remember, Lisa, how to get to new chat. Thank you. That was helpful. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to drag this interface. If I can drag it, can I drag it? My Finder is acting up, but I can fix that by another route. Okay, so now I can drag it. For some reason I can't drag it from my desktop today. So I'm going to drag that file right in here. And
what file is it?
so this was just literally a screenshot of the interface.
Of the user listing page.
That's the
admin
people
user listing
page. Yeah, from Drupal. And now, so now we can say recreate this Drupal user listing page, so we can iterate on its layout and functionality. So this is what I thought was really powerful, and I've actually used this on some client calls. I've used this with teams internal to actually talk through some ideas. As people were talking about ideas, what if we did this? What if we did that? Well, what if we actually did it now? Like, that's really what we're talking about. Like, this is going to be super powerful. So it's doing this in Next. It's not Drupal. I mean, this is not. We can't put this in Drupal or whatever, but it's a way to talk through in a call about this work. And what I find neat about this, I'm not a designer, and I've forever been, I guess, a little jealous of designers who can have Figma open on a call and go, hey, look at me, I'll move stuff around, cool stuff, because they're amazing and doing cool stuff. And then, but now as a developer, I can sort of do this, but at a different level, right?
You're fired.
Yeah. No one's getting fired. These are all tools. These are automations. So it's still working on it. It is using
Tailwind.
It's using Tailwind because it likes Tailwind a lot.
I just wanted to clarify. You said v0 can use other libraries or frameworks, and I know Vercel is next. So could it use like regular React or Remix or some other framework?
Potentially. I've not tried a bunch of that just because we do so much Next. But you mentioned
Bolt does.
Bolt did.
Bolt's very similar.
Bolt is very similar to v0.
And so I've done a lot of native web components with Bolt. And when I first started using it, I noticed that I would ask it to build me a web component and it would start with React. And then I would say, no, write it as a native web component, no React libraries. And it would refactor the code and give me the component in native JavaScript and HTML.
Okay, he hasn't even shown you cursor yet.
And I would also tell it to take Tailwind out as well, because it would default to making a React component with Tailwind.
Yeah. That's a great example there. Just be willing to try new things, and even A/B test. How does Bolt compare to v0? Asking the same prompt. Like as you have time. Like I know we all are busy. We have other things to work on, but these are fun things to try out. And you can see right here the interface. I mean, if I took that and kind of flashed it in front of you, you'd be like, oh, it's a Drupal site. Yeah, users and things, we can do stuff. But this blows my mind. Like it I didn't tell it to do the status and the role, but these drop downs have data in them. It's just static, right? It's all static, so it's not super exciting. But we can say, all right, so we're screen sharing this, and so let's say that we want to add. Can we add? Or I'm going to say, please add a user avatar image in each row for the users. So we can start, you're just talking through, like, what can we do to make this better? We're trying to solve a problem. Maybe the problem is we don't know people's usernames, and maybe the graphic will help. And then we'll start to realize this was a terrible idea because that graphic image is going to be too small and I still can't see what's going on. But these are part of how we solve problems. So it's going to sit here and iterate some more. And there, it's got a placeholder, right? So a next step you could do, because this doesn't prove what I just said, that the image is useful. We could say, can you add actual test images to each avatar
It's
placeholder?
amazing how we talk politely to AI.
I really, listen, you should. And logically, sometimes we do things as humans that we know is not logical. We do it anyway for various reasons, right?
Take over though.
Yeah. Because maybe these vector
They might
databases
remember.
will get compiled into some
Right,
AI
right.
feature, and it remembers
You're a
the
good
shop.
human.
The shop was going, y'all should do this, and then you can blame me for the end of the world. Maybe not. That would be rough.
I'm just curious, if you know, in the beginning you said, create this, Drupal, instead of Drupal, if you said Joomla, do you think it would have figured it out? Like, would it give you a different result?
It would. So this is the image. It actually took the image. So maybe there's a better way. This isn't great,
Can
right?
you tell it to put pictures in of like characters from a TV show?
It could, and it also could be. Well, it could be even, Jason, like more meta. Like maybe there's smaller avatars of actual users inside each avatar. I don't know. So you will get strange things, but this is part of like you're figuring out. And if you're using v0 or Bolt or ChatGPT or any of these tools, like you could start to know what it's good at, but just realize that the stuff is improving daily, and you should periodically retry things because things may change.
That's kind of stuff I get from my developers sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a screen grab, whatever they had. Is the
I mean, maybe I wasn't specific and said, please use PlaceKit.
Right.
Like, it's
Do you find that doing this on a call with a stakeholder sets expectations that it's already done and it's easy and it should be ready tomorrow?
I think what this can do is because you're being transparent about how it works and you're talking through it, and they know it's AI, and you can layer in that, hey, this is a tool and it's not even right in Drupal code. You can layer into things so that the expectations are dealt with. That is actually a real thing. Like when Figma, even for designers, showed some of their tooling for developer tools, it definitely, they make it look like every year at the next conf that this is.
Yeah.
I'm not the next conf, but actually I was thinking about next, I guess, and Vercel, some of their tooling for developers, you can do a lot of real-time stuff and comment and do some really great things, but to the same point, you really want to set expectations for sure that now someone needs to do this, but the idea is, are we saving time? You can evaluate it for yourself and your teams, but can this be used to save time to help push things forward versus you talk about things, someone takes a bunch of notes, you go, we're going to time box 4 hours, we've all done this. We time box 4 hours and go send a developer to go do this, and they'll come back, and then we're not going to be happy with it, but we don't want to hurt their feelings.
Now, in what you're doing, is there a path from what you show them and agree on to usefulness? Or are you using this only as a discussion tool?
If I was, great question, great segue, Randy, checks in the mail. So Drupal, no, exactly. I'd be curious if someone has ideas on that. But if you're doing JavaScript work, and especially if you're in the Vercel world, there's a couple of things. There is a deploy button. I don't know why I would deploy this, but if you go through their deploy, you can actually deploy this directly to Vercel and then have it in a working Next.js app or some other type of JavaScript app. So you can so that's one way you could deploy this and have it at an endpoint. You can already share it, and that I should definitely not miss, because I've used this at the end of a call where I go, and you can say, hey, it's public to everybody, it's for unlisted or whatever, but you can copy the link, and you could go pull this up right now, enjoy the beauty of this experiment. So you have immediate sharing there. You can deploy it to Vercel if you want to do more with it on the full hosting platform. And then the other cool trick is I could take any of the things v0 generates. I can take that stuff and actually Where is it
But
here?
you can download
Add-
it too, can you not?
You can download it.
Yeah.
You can publish it. We will not be publishing this. Don't ask me. And we can copy this. This is what I really like. I can copy this npx command, and we can go to. Everybody say it together. Cursor AI. Cursor AI. We got a Next.js app running in here. We can talk about Cursor a little bit. It's my favorite right now. Debate me. Tell me I'm wrong. We'll go. And so I can just basically drop in this npx command, and it is going to add. It's going to add this component, albeit a strange component, to this Next.js app, which is amazing.
Can you increase the font size?
Yes, we will do that. Thank you for that, because I forget sometimes.
So it gives you a
thank you.
hashed URL to pull the code, and it does a REST call.
It's using npx, which I think just hits that URL endpoint and just says, "Hey, I'm expecting an npm package to be at that location," so it pulls it in. And I'm not expert. Someone else in the room might be. I'm not expert at all npx things, but that's the one where you can install it, but you don't have to download it in npm install. It's a way to go directly to the source. And so it's asking me some questions along the way to install it. This might not actually. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to work. Sometimes I have to actually go in and add it to stuff here, but all right. I do have this up and running. This is where this user profile was. Oh, are we not running? Oh, yeah. Let's run the next app. That could have been running along the way, and it just picked it up, which is awesome. And then it's not going to be a profile. We may have to connect this piece, but yeah, so this is still giving the next homepage, the default homepage for a next app, but so that's cool. But this is also another destination besides deploying to Vercel, besides sending somebody the link after a call. This is not a call, and I want everybody to take a moment and appreciate the braveness, live coding with AI. Here we go. I'm going to really mess this up. Get ready. But Cursor AI is a fork of VS Code. I've been experimenting with Codo, which is a plugin for VS Code, experimenting with GitHub Copilot, which is another plugin. I'm very pro Cursor right now because while others will catch up and already kind of moving that way, Cursor is a fork of VS Code, which means they're not limited by the extensions API of VS Code they can do whatever they want within VS Code to integrate AI tooling. So what does this mean? What can I do with it? So we've got this weird thing we built, this Drupal interface, right, with Avatar that's strange. We built it in v0, so I can open a chat window here and we'll see what we can do. It's going to be interesting, but where did it drop did it add the file? So it added a components JSON file, updated Tailwind configs. The component has been added. So here's the components, and tails, hooks. Okay, so but I don't know where it added the actual. Am I missing the page? Did it add the page?
Is that not in page? Is that not it?
I think page is just the default Next.js page. Yeah,
Okay.
that's just the default piece.
Got it.
So I'm not sure why it didn't pull that piece in. So that's
User admin
oh, maybe where's this at?
under hooks. Odd place to put it.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That's your user data.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that looks like that's it.
Interesting.
It's got your user data and there's JSON. That's JSON.
Yeah, I wonder if I just take this up here. don't know if I can. I don't know if I can hit that route now or not, but so, was it user admin?
Yeah.
No. So I'm going to say so in cursor, user admin is now in context. So it's up here. It's real small. I can't zoom on that. I don't think, but I can say. Not please. We're not starting with please. We're going to be direct. Add a route so I can access user admin on the front end. Accurate solution. I'll help you the route user admin. I'll need to modify your config. Which one should we use? Next.js, React Router? I'll do Next.js.
Next.js.
Yeah, we'll stay in the world. Oh, and I realized something too. So this is something neat about Cursor. Just while we're moving into Cursor world, I opened a chat just by habit. Now chat is more of a just interactive, like I'm talking back and forth with Cursor. But the real interesting power is, let's try the same thing in Composer. Composer, and if I yeah. So if I go to Composer here, I should be able to do the same thing, and it has access to write files, like to the multiple files out. So set up user admin TSX as a page I can view on the front end. So it's actually creating files, making changes.
Okay.
So we can go review those changes. It looks like it mostly changed this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can accept that, and that's the main page. Let's see what it does. Back out. Well, it didn't. Yeah, I'll restart just to see if it makes any difference. Sorry, Gatsby user for a long time. What's that?
I said, and it created the link or the URL at admin/users.
Oh, did it do it admin/users?
That's what it says in the.
Oh, you're reading well. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so let's jump back over here. Let's try admin/users. User admin. So it's not pulling in the page. So we can say, and this is the right thing. Yeah, that's the right thing.
Go back to the page.
All right, page TSX.
Because it's in there. So it's just a placeholder right now.
Yeah, and it definitely rendered.
Yeah.
It rendered that, which is cool. And now I just want to have it. I could copy this stuff in there, right? I mean, we could do that.
Asking a question at the end of its reply.
Would you like me to see the contents? Oh, thank you. There's a lot of text. Thank you for reading this. This is good. You saved us from having to copy paste code, which we've done all our lives. So let's not do that. Would you like me to see the contents? Original users preserving. Yes. I say yes. Do you understand? Things are happening. It's doing stuff. Let's review the changes. I see things. It doesn't look like the... Oh, here's the changes. Oh, okay. There's some changes happening for sure. I'm gonna accept it just so I can see what it's actually doing here. Oh, well, isn't this interesting? It's gone off and said, "I'm doing the wrong thing. I don't care about it." That's what it said. Which is an interesting byproduct probably of it wanting to use shadcn. It's not You know, it's looking at even though the v0 output was shadcn, but I don't want to go too long on. I know we're coming up. You know, we got a few minutes left here, but you can kind of see you can bounce these ideas between different AI environments and try different things, and so my suggestion is definitely just experiment with these items. One thing I didn't want to leave anyone thinking too. When we were talking prompting earlier about prompting Bolt or v0. Even though you can do terrible prompts, the more context you give a prompt, it is still going to do a better job every time of these things. And I would suggest not giving up on it. Like, continue to try. Like, there was a time with v0 where I was literally telling it, here are the colors I want you to use, and it would not add the colors. It even said, I added the colors. You didn't. I can see you did not add the colors. What is wrong with you? But for some reason it was confused, and sometimes I get confused. So I give it that. It's a machine. It should be better. But yeah. So definitely, an example of like make a form. It's going to try to do something. It's going to make a form, but what is it going to do? It's going to make a form based on whatever it thinks you might want. But if you say, can you make a form with these fields and this validation and all those things, it's going to immediately do much better for you. I mentioned earlier just about being creative. I think that's a key piece. What experiences have some of y'all had? What frustrations have you had? It's going to be your support group.
Yeah, I've definitely done some stuff with documentation.
Yeah.
Used it more generally too, but for the next Drupal project, a lot of the documentation for a lot of the methods was just like handwritten. And for the recent release, there were like a lot of API changes because we're supporting the app router. So
thank you for that, by the way. Yeah. Big deal. You don't know. App router. That's a big improvement.
But I asked AI to move the documentation for that into TS comments. So it actually set up the entire build process for that part of the site. And then what I did is basically just ask it to take those pages of documentation and put them in the code comments. So it was basically able to take that manually maintain part of the documentation and just move it all into code, so it was automated. So it was pretty useful.
That's great. Yeah, documentation is really good. Anybody else have? That's a great example, Brian. Anybody else have any examples of cool things they've done? Or it's okay even if it's things that you're like, it didn't do great for this, because that's still worthwhile to know.
I found in doing the having Bolt do web components that iterating on simpler ones, it did really well, but when you started asking it to do really complex things, it started to fall apart. So what I found the best use there when I wanted to do something complex was to break it down into simpler components, and when I got a component of the larger project that was close, I would stop and then iterate on the next component, and then that would basically give me the pieces that I needed to pull it down and wire it all together.
One thing that I am frustrated with is I work with so many different technologies and I can't remember how they all work. You just can't remember the syntax. So I love that AI always gets the syntax right.
Yeah.
Even though the logic is stupid, the syntax is great. But a lot of things are rotting. We rot. Our knowledge rots anyway. We leave it. Like Drupal, I haven't really used Drupal much in a long time. And so all my knowledge is rotted and Drupal's moved on and I don't know these things. But the way we used to take on these things when we took them on successfully was with mastery of the technology we were using. We would actually learn it. And now sometimes we can accomplish things with no mastery, but then we don't have any mastery. And we,
that's a concern I think we all have.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's where I've said I don't know at what point AI because I've had several people ask me, like, aren't you afraid AI is going to take, AI, or have declared, AI is going to do away with your job? And I'm like, not necessarily. Because I said, AI can write bad code. And you've got to know how the code works to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, there's bad code in its training.
Yep.
So it's going to have some of that, and you know, you wonder. There's all these theories. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but one thing for sure is like it's good to understand as much as you can about it and work with it. It's going to be here, and how can you use it to help you today?
I think the challenge is going to be growing the next iteration of developers.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have the experience that we've had
Yeah.
doing it for 15, 20 years.
And one of my concerns is when myself or others in the room who architect complex websites, it's not like that magically comes to my brain on how to do things and solve things. It's because of years of experiences, things that didn't work, things, you know, and you're basically reducing risk in ways by going, we're not going to go down that road because that's treacherous. We can't guarantee we're going to do it right, but we're going to try this other one because we think it's, you know, how do new developers coming into the field even gain that experience in that way?
Well, what they were doing was Googling Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
And copy pasting, right? So this is actually a step forward.
Yeah.
But with sometimes no context.
Right.
Just ask a question, copy, paste.
Is it better or worse than Stack Overflow?
It is better than Stack Overflow.
I mean, the learning is based on that, right?
Yeah.
Based on all of those.
Yeah.
Which is tough for the Stack Overflow folks, I'm sure, because like they know they were straight.
A concern I have is like, as we rely more and more on these tools, what are the inputs that the models are going to be using to continue to advance?
Yeah.
It's going to just become a circle.
That's the internet is dead kind of thing, right? Am I thinking the right? Where it's feeding itself, but it could be feeding itself bad information until there's not anything. Well, this is like a Doctor Who episode.
I was reading an article that was saying, what if AI always biases toward a particular algorithm or language? Like, because there's so much Python out there that people start doing more Python, even when there might be a vastly better approach to something. But there's so much training on Python, or let's say there's so much training on Drupal, and WordPress is a much better solution for something.
Go try right now to do work with Experience Builder. It doesn't know anything about it. There's nothing out there, you know.
Exactly.
Or whatever's new.
It's not going to suggest that you use it.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of code development with AI, and I played with it a little bit. I've tried it a few things, but after Brian's session yesterday, I was playing around and I did like have Bolt generate a promo component.
Yeah.
And it did it in its way, like it was making it like a JavaScript component. And I asked, do you know about Drupal single directory components? And it said yes, and gave me a bunch of information. So I asked it to convert it, and it did a really reasonable job.
Yeah, and that's been out a few years, so that it's had enough. There's been blog posts, but that is a good philosophical question about it. Is how's this going to work, and do you have good content feeding it? But I basically thank everybody for coming out today, and I appreciate the interest. Love to hear back from y'all what you try and do, and this isn't just for developers. There's a lot of tools that can help others. That's a message for the day. Help others teams do some things themselves. I mean, I love it when a project manager. Jason, don't we love it when project managers help do things too? Like, we do. Because you and I talk about that. Like, I am not opposed. Jump into Chrome debugger and all that's great. So, but yeah, this is good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you, everybody.
I have a quick announcement. If you guys want to do AI and help the community and do the Drupal 7 to Drupal 10 / Drupal 11 AI stuff, go to go to upgradedrupal.com and sign up as a volunteer, and then we have meetings and talk about how to use AI to train AI to do upgrades.
Thanks, Ryan.